Hello everyone and welcome to Rob's Rogues, and today we're taking a look at the DC Comics supervillains Black Manta action figure from their supervillains line from DC Collectibles. This is my second figure today. We had the Joker earlier today, and depending on when I'm uploading this, I may upload it the same day I'm doing the Joker, or I may wait till tomorrow. But nonetheless, getting two of these figures at the same time is really pretty cool. Originally, I believe Black Manta was supposed to come out last month, but I'm not exactly sure why the delay happened with Black Manta. At least that's what I was being told from my local comic book shop. So this month we may get another figure. I think the Joker obviously came out in Black Manta, but I think Black Adam is supposed to come out at the end of the month, if I understand that right. He could be, since this is October, he could be a November figure, so we'll have to wait and see. But like we noticed on the Jokers and Captain Cold, the side of the peel back is in the highlight color or a predominant color of the character itself. Now, since it's Black Manta, the whole box couldn't have been black. Maybe they could have done gray. But I like they went with the red for the eyes and the peel back. And the villains have this kind of torn, peeled back section, which I think is really pretty cool. There is a side profile of Black Manta as he looks at figure form, and it's sculpted by Sean St. James, and the accessories includes daggers and hand trident, which is what this thing, guy at the comic book store was like, what is this thing? So I don't know if Black Manta has used this much in the new 52 yet or not. It's I'm not quite remembering. I'm sure with it being in here, it's pretty accurate, probably since, Jeff Johns was like, hey, give Black Manta this thing. So the little read-up that we've got here for Black Manta says Aquaman's arch nemesis Black Manta is perfectly captured in this action figure based on the designs for the story The Others for DC Comics The New 52. And of course, the other figures that are coming soon or are already out is Supervillains The Joker, very, very good figure, and Supervillains Captain Cold. I like the new design of Captain Cold. Some people don't. We'll get a taste. We'll get a chance to look at the three villains that have been released so far. And much like Captain Cold and the Jokers, there's a little scene here depicting the figures getting ready to fight, which I think this is really pretty cool. And again, you have your comic shop locator information down here, and then the We Can Be Heroes. So, or in this case, I guess we can be villains. We will pause the camera real quick. We'll get Black Manta out of package, and we'll take a look at him and everything that goes along with him, and then put him up against the other villains, and then, of course, Aquaman himself. So stay tuned, everybody. We will be right back. Alright, here we are. We have Black Manta out of package, and I am 2 for 2 today. This is another fantastic figure. I am really impressed with Black Manta, and I was kind of debating whether or not I should have pre-ordered him at my local comic book store. And I'm trying to watch how much money I'm spending on action figures and trying to narrow it down to the Batman universe, or Robin universe, as I like to say. And clearly, Black Manta is nowhere near the Batman universe. But having the Justice League 7-pack, I thought it would be kind of cool to have some villains here or there to kind of stand around my figures and kind of pose them in fighting. And I'm really, really glad that I picked up Black Manta. It's one of those, once you get it home and you go, okay, I will justify the other price. What I didn't say earlier, that the Joker cost me about $20 from Entertainment Earth. Black Manta from my local comic book store was about $24.95, so about $25. Yes, these are expensive, and the price of plastic is getting more and more to make them, but as detailed as this is, I am very, very happy with Black Manta here. Just a beautifully, beautifully done figure. Let me get some light down here. But yeah, just a tremendously sculpted figure. Just things that we have come to know, love, and expect from DC Collectibles. I would say let's get into the face here, or the helmet, as it were. He almost looks like it could be Bugman or something like that. But I really, really like the character. And part of me really liking the character is in the New 52. Gentleman at my local comic book store, when I was picking out my, typical Bat books for the New 52, he was like, hey, you might want to hop on the Aquaman comic series. I'm like, oh, I like Aquaman, but, he's not a favorite of mine. And Jeff Johns has done a brilliant job on the Aquaman series, kind of taking some of those lesser-known heroes, or the ones that are kind of the punching bag, or the running jokes in the DC universe, and really making them into something. And that's also including Black Manta here, who I just think that he has just done extremely, extremely well. You can see the back here, which I'm now figuring out what I think this, like, there should be something here. I know what that something is. It's the handheld, trident spear. I think that's what they were calling it. Let me look at my... hand trident, not spear. So it'll sit in the back of there. Since we're on to talking about the hand trident, if I can get this out of his hand, there we go. Not much to it. Almost looks like the Star Trek A or something like that, but pretty cool. And I am assuming that this is going to fit right in there. It's just going to hold it. If you turn it upside down, it'll come off. So it's just in, this wedge shape that is holding it. As you can see, there are two spears up here, or two knives. So I would imagine these fit in each hand. There we go. Helps if I'm holding them right. And that piece comes off, which the guy at the comic book store told me that he has this, and the hand trident keeps coming out. I'm dropping things on the floor. Apologize about that. So I just kind of have to watch. It's just kind of loosely back in there. But there are his spears. Back the camera out here, Rob. Look at he holding his hand. Now, I'm not noticing, like the Joker... Is there articulation in the hands? It feels like there is. Yes, there is. This one, that piece comes off again. It's kind of hindered by this gauntlet here, but this makes me feel better that he can hold them, a little straighter. So that's cool. Thought they would have found a better clip to hold that piece in there. But really pretty neat. I like this a lot. There's not much going on with the black unitard type suit, but you can see the definition and the typical DC paneling lines, which I'm really liking, rather than just an all black suit. Without really knowing it, you might think this is Nightwing. Now mine, as you can tell, this leg is bent a little bit. So he wasn't in the package in a real dynamic pose or anything. I just think for whatever reason this leg didn't cure, didn't set right, but a little hot water, and even just bending it right here. That piece, I tell you what, I'm going to leave that out as I keep having to bend down off camera. I apologize about that. This is going to stay up here. So on the shelf, it's going to be fine, but holding it for the sake of the review, I keep knocking the hand trident out. So since we were talking about hands and started going into the articulation, let's just put these back in. The head is just on a standard, I don't know what you want to call it. He can look left to right, but the hoses that come back into the back part of this holster apparatus type thing, I guess would be his oxygen tank, does not allow him to turn really far one way or the other. I mean, he can turn, but they're kind of bent and curved. There's no up and down motion at all. It's just left to right, and it's barely left and right. So it's Black Manta. It's the DC Classics from Mattel I have off to the side. That head does turn a lot better because I think they had the hoses designed and sculpted just a little bit better for practicality. So you can see his neck here, which he has one, but it's really kind of spindly, holding this dome up here. The only other color you have is just the red off to the side here. The arms are on a nice ball and socket. Unlike the Joker, Black Manta's arms move very, very well. So he has a turn at the bicep here, bend at the elbow, if I get it in frame here, and he has a rotation in the wrist. The rotation in the wrist works much, much better on the left hand than it does the right, and that is just because of the gauntlet here. There is no ab crunch or waist turn. The Joker did sport a waist turn, or waist twist. Legs go forward and back. They go back much farther than they go forward. I kind of wish that was the other way around, but still a decent amount. There's no T-joint or anything like that. He does have a bend at the knee as the last bit of articulation. There's nothing else in the foot. So let's put the piece that keeps coming out a lot back in his hand. And he holds all of his accessories very, very well. So there he is with his hand trident. So what we're going to do, we're going to go up to a little segment that I have here, and then we will go into some of the comparisons and seeing some of the different heroes and villains that we've received so far. This is a segment I like to call Darkseid saying, "Here, let me lend you a hand." Alright, here he is with his DC Universe Classics counterpart. This was the 2-pack of the gold Aquaman and the more of the Black Manta in his superpowers scheme, so you can see the height difference. This Black Manta is almost as tall as the DC Collectibles if you account for the hoses in the back, but I think you can see what I mean by the hoses in the back allowing the head to turn really pretty decently. So of course, you know, I've got Mattel and DC Collectibles. Just looking at the two side by side, I don't have the Black Manta version. I have the blue Black Manta or the purple Black Manta. I really like this one. I mean, I'm glad I have my DC UC shelf, and that's all fine, well and good, but I'm really glad I picked this up. And now kind of seeing the two side by side, I wish that 2-pack would have come with the Black Manta, but I get why they released this one, so you could have a correct superpowers looking Black Manta like he did in the cartoon TV show. And here is Black Manta with the Justice League, as I have him, the 7-pack Aquaman figure. They look really, really good together. Again, these are two figures I can't wait to get on my shelf to kind of start standing around my Hall of Justice that I have. That's the Young Justice Hall of Justice Collect and Connect, to have all the heroes and villains kind of fighting amongst the Hall of Justice. I think this will be really, really pretty cool. You know, yes, they're kind of missing some key points of articulation, that we can't get them fully posed, that they're kind of vanilla-ish type of posing, but they still look really, really good. Even if they're, you know, if I could just go through and just put them side by side with their villain counterpart or their hero counterpart, however you want to word it, they're going to look really good together. Something I did while Aquaman is up here, I haven't had a chance to talk about it, I've seen some other people do it, is I went to Hobby Lobby and I got this little gold clasp that I now have my Aquaman. If I want him to not have the chain on the trident, that comes off, and I could take the trident off here, off this part of the clasp, if I do this right. So I could have him just hold on to this, or like in the Forever Evil, I could give the trident now to Black Manta and give it to him that way. So the chain I just really have, I've kind of kept on because the chain was there. There's a new Aquaman coming out with a new face, a sculpt, a new head sculpt, a new trident, actually a better looking trident, and the chain is now gone from that Aquaman. So I'm glad it came with it, but now I can kind of give the accessory to Black Manta as they're maybe kind of fighting over it, or get it in some kind of stance maybe where they're each holding on to it, which now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's what I may do, is have them both hold on to the trident at the same time. Let me pause the camera, see if I can't get them both into that pose. So a little something like that. I had them both where like Black Manta was having both of his hands up like, here, take this, and looked like Aquaman was punching him. So it's kind of cool to be able to kind of maybe set these up, and maybe I could have them both holding it, you know, where it's straight up and down. But yeah, you can kind of get a little creative and try to pose them in different ways. So I'm gonna have fun doing that, especially with the Joker and Captain Cold and Batman and all of those. So speaking of some of the other villains, let's see the 3 villains that have been released so far. Alright, here are the 3 supervillains that have been released so far. In order of release, we have Captain Cold, then we have the Joker, technically I think came out first this month, actually this week, along with Black Manta, both in the same week. So that's 2 figures both in the same week, which I am very, very cool with. Let's take a look at the 3 villains with their superhero counterparts. Alright, here are heroes and villains together, the ones that we can now pair and match up. We have Captain Cold and the Flash, we have Black Manta and Aquaman, and of course Batman and the Joker. I think it's really cool. We're off to a really good start. My wallet is starting to burn with the amount of figures that I'm buying. So up next for villains that I have will be Black Adam, and they're also are going to be releasing a Shazam. So that will probably about do it for me as far as heroes and villains outside of the Bat family. Coming up, I have also pre-ordered some Arkham Origins figures, and then hopefully the Capullo series will come out in early part of 14, and that'll be Nightwing and Talon. And I'm still on the fence if I'm going to get that Batman. It's going to be basically this Batman just done in a Greg Capullo art style. So currently at the time being, I only have Nightwing and Talon set up on my pre-order list. Alright, in closing here for the 2 figures I've reviewed today, Black Manta is another great pickup. Was one that I was initially thinking, I'm probably spending a little bit more money. I'm only collecting, trying to collect Robin and Batman family members and villains, but I'm really glad I picked up Black Manta. I probably wouldn't have picked him up if I hadn't had the Justice League 7-pack, because I want to try and have enough heroes and villains together that I can have, a decent display on my shelf. I am really glad that I do have him. So if you're kind of on the fence about Black Manta, if you already have Aquaman, I think this is a great pickup to add to your collection, and he is done very, very well. And there's not a whole lot that's been changed about him or through him in the new 52. He looks basically pretty much the same as you know and remember him. And I've got to say that the Aquaman comic has been very, very good. Jeff Johns is going to be wrapping up his run on Aquaman on issue 25, which I'm really kind of sad about. I'm really kind of enjoying it. And I don't want to be somebody that's like, oh, I'm going to drop Aquaman because Jeff Johns isn't on it. But I'm trying to trim down my comics that I've been reading too, picking up so many action figures and reading comics as well. So we'll have to see what the new writing team does. I've really been enjoying it, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this review. I know this and the Jokers have been a little bit long, but I've just had such a blast getting these figures out and getting a chance to pose them with different heroes and villains, and maybe that may sway you into buying some of these. So, as always, this is Rob for Rob's Rogues, signing off saying we will see you guys next time.